Good evening. I'd like to open the December 17th, 2018 Board of County Commissioners meeting. And as usual, we'll open with our invocation, and Stoney Russian will be providing the invocation.
Thank you. Join me, if you please. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for bringing us all here safely tonight to conduct the business of the citizens of Union County. It's with a heavy heart that we come to you with the loss of Ann Cathy, Sheriff Eddie Cathy's wife. Please be with Sheriff Eddie Cathy's wife and the members of her family as well, and hope that they have peace before the holidays. In your name I pray, amen.
Amen.
Join me in the pledge.
Please, allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now we'd like to take the opportunity for some employee recognition. And Ms. Manager, if you would share the details, please.
Yes, Chairman Helms. Tonight, as part of our employee recognition, we have special recognition for the annual Operations Challenge and Pipe Tapping Contest with the NCAWWA WEA Conference, and Tom BOCC is with us this evening to present the awards to our staff. Mr. BOCC, if you'd like to come forward.
Good evening, everybody. Tom BOCC. I'm with the NCAWWA WEA. I'm the current Board of Trustee member. And these two awards right here are really mean a lot to our association. They're very well deserved for Union County, and would like to go, just a little bit of history of it. We've been doing these awards I guess over 96 years, so they're very well established, and we really appreciate each and every municipality across the state participating in these contests. First of all, the Operations Challenge event. It's broken up into 4 different type of categories. It's a very involved competition. One is to the collection systems, sewer collection systems, and then maintenance, the laboratory portion of it, and then the process control. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to read the names of the participants and have them come up here and get the award. This year, Matt Hargett is the coach. Blake Brooks. Wyatt Howell. Hayden Hunter. And Aaron Winans. Here's the award right here. I'll put it over here. And one of the nicest things, oh, here, I'll put it like that. One of the really neat things about this award is that they're going to be part of the National WEFTEC Conference. I believe it's in Chicago this year again. And they're going to participate with 51 other teams. So it's a total of 52 teams. So job well done, fellas. Really appreciate it. Next is the pipe tapping contest, and that is a little more straightforward, but it is timed. It's a timed event, and but they also have to tap a water pipe, and they have to tap it without a leak. And they definitely, the judges look at that, and that's a very important part of everyday operations in the water department. So I'd like to read these names. So they were second place winners in the event this year. And I've got Richard Baker, Justin Huntley, Rick Merith, and Chase Griffin. And here's your trophy, guys. Congratulations. Congratulations. Thank you so much. And we really appreciate all the teams that do come into our annual conference and participate in it. So we really appreciate Union County being that. So thank you.
Thank you, sir, and congratulations to our employees for their accomplishment. Next, we have some recognition for one of our board members. And Jerry, will you join me out front, please? Sure. Jerry is our 2018 chairman. He's done an exceptional job in helping take care of the county. And we want to present him with a flat trophy that says how much we appreciate your dedication, trophy or whatever. Jerry's got a collection of these. He's done a great job for us, and we really appreciate it. And also, your gavel that you used this year. So we do appreciate everything you've done for us. It's been a pleasure working with you.
Thank you very much.
And you can give that to one of your grandkids.
No, I'm sitting beside Commissioner Rush and I might use it.
You get a shot.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Next, we have the introduction of our new Cooperative Extension Director. And Ms. Manager, if you would
Yes, Chairman
take care of that,
Helms.
please.
Andrew BOCC has joined us as our new Cooperative Extension Director. Andrew, if you'd come forward while I say a few words about you. Andrew received his Bachelor of Science degree in Horticulture Science from North Carolina State University and is currently a candidate for a Master's of Science in Crop Science from North Carolina State University. He has worked for North Carolina State University in roles supporting both agricultural producers and extension educators. He is a recipient of both the Lois G. Britt Outstanding Extension Agent Award and the Edgar and Ethel B. Boone Adult Education Award. Andrew is a native of Union County and currently resides in Wingate with his wife Lauren and daughter Naomi. And we're happy to introduce him. He's been with us a couple of weeks now, and I know he's hit the ground running. Andrew, we're glad to have you with us. So please take a time to say a few words to the board and to the public.
All right. Well, first off, thank you very much for having me this evening. I very much appreciate the invitation. And it's very special to come back to Union County and to be a part of the work, continued work that has been done by previous county directors and county extension agents, and the rich tradition and rich history that has come from the Union County Extension Office. And I have been on board now for about 3 weeks. This is my 3rd week. And I have done a lot of listening. And I think that's important early on and throughout this process as we move forward, working together with our county support and our state universities, NCA&T and North Carolina State University. And what we are gathering is just the tremendous potential that is housed at the Union County Ag Center with the quality staff that we have. We have fantastic agents, support staff, program assistants. And the one thing that we're very fortunate to have in this county, and I've learned from my time working across the state, is tremendous county support. So first off tonight, I would like to say thank you for your continued support for that. My My priority here, working at the Ag Center and working with you folks here, is to improve the lives of the citizens of Union County. We will do that and accomplish that in agriculture, youth development, and food and nutrition. We, again, continue to appreciate the support of the county as we all work together to achieve these goals. When I was here the first time as an extension agent, I freely give out my cell phone number. I challenge each and every one of you on the board, come spend a day with me. Come spend a day at our Ag Center, see the work that our quality staff does, and see the work and the impacts that we make on a daily level with the citizens of the county. Whether that is youth programming, again, food, nutrition, and our main staple here in the county, agriculture. Thank you again for your time. Please reach out to us. We would be glad to host you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and welcome to the county. Next, we have a public hearing for assisted living facility in the town of Stallings. I wish to open the public hearing. Seeing there's no one speaking, I will now close the public hearing. Next, we have informal comments. We have 2 individuals signed up to speak. And each speaker must address the board from the lectern and begin their remarks with giving their name, stating whether they are residents of Union County, indicating the municipality within which they reside, if any, and stating the topic about which they intend to speak. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to make remarks. The speaker will not yield any of his time to another speaker. Speakers may not discuss matters which are subject to public hearing, and they must be courteous in their language and presentation. First, we have Mr. Stephen Davis.
Thank you. My name is Stephen Davis. I'm a resident of Union County, Indian Trail, North Carolina. My address is 1106 Oak Alley Drive. And I'm speaking in reference to the 9th Congressional District attempt to certify that. To say that it is a travesty for the Union County Board of Commissioners to consider imposing their personal desires on another county is a glaring example of attempted overreach. First, if the circumstances were reversed, we would not want, nor would we allow, another county to dictate how we resolve these improprieties. Second, it is the responsibility of government to make sure every vote is cast properly, fairly, and without coercion or corruption. To suggest the disenfranchisement of a single voter, not to mention over 1,000, is unconscionable. If it is the cost that you are concerned with, then I suggest you send the bill to Mr. Mark Harris's campaign. If we are to advocate for not counting a single vote cast by any citizen, then let us throw them all out and request that Governor Cooper appoint someone to hold the seat. But I suspect you wouldn't want that. You would interpret that as it not being the will of the people. This is also ignoring the will of the people. You hold these seats because of the will of the people. Because every vote that was cast was counted. The citizens of Bladen County deserve no less. Do not put a price tag on our elections. Do not condone election fraud. I implore you to reconsider making this request to the North Carolina Board of Elections. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Stephen. Next, we have Clancy Balcom.
All right. My name's Clancy Balcom. I'm a resident of Union County. Known most of you folks all my life. I'm currently reside in Marshall, grew up around Unionville. I just want to express my gratitude to the board for moving forward with this resolution. I worked with a group of people to elect Mark Harris, and some uncommon people that currently don't get involved. And I went to these people and asked them for their time, to volunteer their time and to make contributions to the campaign, and these people stepped up and done so. We went through a tough-fought primary, which seemed to be an uphill battle. We went through a tough-fought general election, which was an uphill battle. And I've asked these people to step up time after time. I don't know how many more times they'll step up, just to be honest. So I just want to thank you for putting this resolution forward, because I believe the current situation serves no one. You know, we fought this thing for better than a year, and now here we are 6 weeks past the election. And that doesn't serve the people of our county. Our county turned out overwhelmingly for Mark Harris. There's a reason for that. Wherever we put, he went to every barbecue, he went to every fish fry, he went to every benefit breakfast. He got in here, he worked, and he earned the trust of the people. And I know we were on different sides, some of us, but still the man earned the trust of the people. So it's clear to see whose camp I'm in. But this current situation serves no one, and we do need resolution to this current situation. And I understand both sides. These battles, tough-fought battles such as this, you know, the loss is hard to take. I understand that, but we do need some resolution. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Clancy. Next, we have additions, deletions, and adoptions of the agenda. I have a couple items I'd like to add to the agenda, please. One, the designation of the voting delegates for the 2019 Legislative Goals Conference on January 10th through 11th in Raleigh. I'd like to add that to consent agenda. Next, I would like to add to the consent agenda to authorize budget amendment number 14. It's again, it's consent agenda. And kind of excited about this one. I'd like to add to new business just prior to item 25, appointment of a county manager effective January 1st, 2019. An adoption of the budget amendment number 13, and approval of and authorization for the chairman to execute the employment contract. Any other items that we need to address?
Motion to approve agenda is amended.
Okay. Any further discussion? I'll take a vote. All four?
Aye.
Okay. Unanimous. Motion to adopt the agenda. And a motion to adopt the consent agenda as amended.
Aye.
Okay. Our next is our new business. And what we would like to share with you tonight, and there's been much anticipation, our Cindy Coto, the county manager, has announced her plans to retire as county manager for Union County on December 31st, 2018. Union County Board of Commissioners engaged in the recruiting firm of Ralph Anderson and Associate to assist with the selection process for county manager. Interviews and selection process have been completed, and the board wishes to appoint Mark Watson, manager, effective January 1st, 2019. I think we need to congratulate Mark, but I can tell you it was probably the toughest decision that I've ever had to make, because we had 3 outstanding candidates that it was very difficult to make a decision. Any one of them could have stepped in and done the job, but we felt like Mark was the right one for today. Mark, congratulations. There's been a lot of speculation around the county who it was going to be. So we have a motion, need a motion to. So I make a motion that the board accepts Mark Watson as the new county manager effective January 1st, 2019. Any discussion? Yeah, okay, thank you. And we also have to adopt Budget Amendment 13 as previously discussed. All right. This is new for us. And also authorize the chairman of the board to sign the contract agreement. Any discussion?
No.
All for Mr. Watson is our county manager.
Aye.
Unanimous to be sure. And thank you, Mark. We're looking forward to a long relationship. Would you like to come and say a few words, sir?
Well, good evening.
Good evening.
I'm very excited about this opportunity, and I would like to thank each and every one of you individually for the confidence that you have shown in me through this process, and for your vote of confidence tonight. This has been an exciting process. And I would be remiss if I did not also recognize a number of individuals in this room that are currently on staff. And as I look around the room, and many of them sitting right back here, there was a number sitting over on this other side, and all of these individuals have played a part in preparing me for this role. Whether they realize it or not, some I have worked with for many, many, many years. I'll call Jeff Crook, one of my long-term colleagues, and Lynn West, clerk to the board. We have worked together for many, many years, and I look so forward to continuing to work with you in a new role, as I do with everyone else that's currently on staff. It's going to be a pleasure. I look forward to a smooth transition of administration and the opportunity to serve both the board, the employees, and the residents of our county. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Mark.
You're quite welcome.
We're looking forward to working with you and starting that communication to all parties involved.
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Let's give him a hand. Next, we've got solid waste presentation.
23. Let's get back.
And I got so
John,
excited.
Sorry, he got excited about solid
Go
waste.
ahead, let's go ahead and do this, and then we'll go back.
You sure?
I was really looking forward to announcing the new county manager, and I jumped ahead, so I apologize, but go ahead and we'll address the Marshall corridor study in just a minute. Sorry, Bjorn.
So you're ready to go?
Yeah.
Tonight, John Evars, our Solid Waste Division Director, is here to present information on our solid waste operations. This presentation was initiated based on a request initially from Commissioner Simpson and other commissioners, specifically regarding complaints from residents regarding garbage collection. John will discuss garbage collection, the county's current role, options that you may have or we have as an organization. He is also going to provide you with an update on the relocated Sun Valley convenience site and information on the new Salem convenience site that was destroyed by Hurricane Florence. We are not seeking any action from the board tonight. This is really for you to hear about the operations that John is responsible for and some of the key issues that have been raised, and for us to provide follow-up to you on more specific items that you would like to hear about. I would just close before John starts. As I mentioned, he is going to give you an update on the convenience site that was destroyed by the hurricane. And I would let you know that based on the information that has been provided to me, we've decided that we will not relocate or replace that site. And I think the information that John will share with you tonight will make that obvious, but I wanted to put that out before he started his presentation. So, John?
Okay, thank you very much. Good evening. It's my pleasure to speak with you this evening. It's also my honor to serve the citizens of Union County. I've been in public service for 32 years, and that's one of the main motivating factors in that. As county manager
discussed. We're going to give a little bit of some options on hauling issues that we've heard some complaints about. I'm also, for the benefit of new board members and maybe a little re-education for the existing board members, going to give a very brief overview of where we make our money and what we spend it on as well, and touch on the items that Michelle had mentioned. So why are we here? There have been a number of complaints, and we get them in our office as well, concerning performance for residents with curbside service. A lot of times people are not even aware of who picks up their garbage. So when it doesn't get picked up, they'll call whoever they can, and frequently we get those calls as well, and we hear them and try and assist them in rectifying those issues. What our role is with haulers and the residents, and this pretty much goes for all counties throughout the state of North Carolina. Usually local municipalities will provide collection programs via contract or by themselves. The unincorporated areas, customers typically contract directly with haulers. The county provides the infrastructure for disposal, and we also provide other services that I'll touch upon as we roll through this. We're going to talk a little bit about where we generate our revenue. We are an enterprise fund. We run our fund like a business, not supported by any other solid waste fees, general fund, none of that. So we are fortunate that we have some facilities that do generate revenue. Many counties do not. 60 of the 100 counties in North Carolina rely on solid waste fees to provide some of the costly services that their residents require and may be mandated. They don't have a construction and demolition landfill like we do. Or if they do have one, it's not getting the type of volumes that we're getting in ours. We currently get about 3,000 tons a month coming into our construction and demolition landfill at $36 a ton. So that's some substantial revenue generation. Our transfer station, which you see pictured, is exactly what it sounds like. We sell disposal space to the private hauling industry. They will pay anywhere from $36 to $42 a ton, depending on their volume. The board had adopted a volume-based tipping fee several years ago, and that works well to help drive the higher volume tonnages into our facility. We pay approximately $24 a ton to dispose of that. That's transportation and disposal at a landfill. So if you're charging $36 to $42 and you're paying $24, we're doing 7,000 to 8,000 tons a month. So you look at that spread, we're generating some revenue. But unlike, and we do not regulate haulers in any way. We don't necessarily have the power to regulate haulers in any way as far as collection goes. But there is one potential way that could possibly help get a better handle on the collection practices. Unlike businesses, because we are a governmental agency and our citizens' welfare is paramount, we provide services that do cost us some money. We use the money that we generate from the transfer station, from the C&D site, and also just from the bag fees, for example, at our convenience sites. We don't make money on that, but it helps offset the cost of operating all of those sites. The high volume sites will make a few dollars. The low volume sites will lose some money. But that's one of the reasons we have those fees. Some of the things that you'll see here, and I'll touch very briefly on them, use motor oil and antifreeze. We accept that material. Bulky items. So if you're doing spring cleanup, you're cleaning out the shed, you got the old sofa, what have you, you need to get rid of it, we have a facility that takes that material. If you were to call a private hauler and have him come, he'd charge you about $25 to pick up your old couch in front of your house. You can bring that on a pickup truck along with everything else that you could fit on that truck and get rid of it for $10 or $15. Electronics recycling, that is an expensive proposition. The state banned TVs, computer equipment from landfills. It is an it's an almost unfunded mandate,
We get about $16,000 rebated from the state on electronics recycling. We spend about $120,000 a year keeping TVs and computers out of roadside ditches and stream beds. Some counties do charge to take that. We choose not to. It's a beautiful county, and we want to keep it that way. Yard waste, we're fortunate to have a well-run yard waste facility permitted by the state. We actually make a little bit of money on that. So far in the first 5 months of this year, we have brought in, counting Florence tonnage, which was 600 tons just from the hurricane, but we've brought in a little over 3,000 tons. We've generated $70,000 in revenue from that 3,000 tons. It averages out to $22.50 a ton, if you do the math. That's what we bring in revenue. We spend $17.50 with Prevet Industries, who's a local contractor who grinds our material into mulch. So we make about $5 a ton on the material that comes in. Now, we do spend some of that in our own staff, windrowing the material, and moving material around. We do spend a little bit. White goods, we do get the money back from the state on that. You pay a disposal tax when you buy a white goods, so that one is self-sustaining. Same for tire recycling. We recoup all the money when we recycle that, and that's about $250,000 a year on recycling tires in Union County. And we also do the annual Household Hazardous Waste Cleanup Day, one-day event, 100 cars an hour. Folks that are conscientious save the things you wouldn't throw in the trash, the pesticides, the oil-based paints, those type of items, and they bring them to us on a one-day event. It's about a $20,000 bill. Okay, so the main purpose, though, was to talk about franchising. That was my understanding, so that's what I'll get into next. So yes, counties may contract with an entity or entities, multiple non-exclusive franchise, to provide solid waste collection and disposal. It applies to the unincorporated areas. Municipalities, through interlocal agreements, could participate if they wanted to, but as far as the county's power goes, that is the unincorporated areas of the county, which of course for us would be your eastern half and most of your southern half of the county. You can grant a franchise to more than one company. And you'll see I did a little case study, found another county similar to us, including the growth, and you'll see how that worked out for them. The county could set rates for service. They don't have to, but you could set rates. And it can be for residential and commercial, but typically a franchise is for residential only. There's a lot more to commercial waste collection. Dumpsters may be picked up, some 2 days a week, some 5 days a week. There's national accounts out there that may be serviced by someone who's not a franchisee. There's a lot of complications in the commercial part. So most of your franchises are residential. They're just easier to manage. The front-load dumpster business and the roll-off container business and the compactor type of business that you'll see at commercial entities, those are very profitable for haulers. And so they're actively after that type of business, and the level of service they provide is paramount to them keeping it. So for most franchises, it's residential. The benefits that you have, well, you limit the amount of collection vehicles on the streets. So if you have 5 franchise zones, one assigned to each hauler, only his trucks are going to be out on the streets. You're not going to have 4 haulers running down the street with different vehicles. If the county sets rates, then you're going to ensure reasonable rates for service to your customers. And it usually, if you'll note, that's underlined, usually results in better service and lower rate, especially if it's exclusive. And to flesh that out a little bit for you, I have run many collection programs in my career. I can tell you that a garbage truck is the hardest working piece of equipment you'll ever run across on the streets of North Carolina. Those automated trucks that you see do this 1,200 times a day, they break pretty often. They're very expensive, a lot of capital involved in it. And on any given day, somebody's going to struggle in picking up trash. They don't have spares sitting around on the yard because of the cost. Those trucks are $350,000 a piece. And so no matter what size company you are, you could struggle on any given day
And what usually happens is the municipalities that have the contracts that are tight, densely populated, you have route density there. So if a given company is struggling on a given week because manpower shortages, which they're running into, truck drivers are demanding a lot of money right now, and a lot of them are leaving and moving to other places, or you have equipment issues, those companies are going to focus on those municipal contracts because of the route density. They're easier to run. You can do it with less equipment. They're going to take care of them, in most cases, before they're going to take care of the unincorporated customer because they live far apart. They'll get to them eventually, but they may not get them on their normal collection day. So what I'm saying is there really is no tie between the size of a company and the level of service that they provide. Many of them can have a bad day. Some have more than others. Those usually are your largest companies. And the reason is they're beholden to the stockholders. A lot of your small companies that you have here in Union County that are local businesses that started up, they've not been overzealous in growth. They don't have the same motivation. They want to, they're part of the community. They've got a reputation to protect. They're not gonna go beyond their means to service. A lot of the large national companies, however, it's a big race to get your hands on all the garbage. Bid it low, get your hands on it, worry about picking it up later, and that's what happens. And so you run into collection issues in those cases. Some of the drawbacks that you have to a franchise system is if you do that, you can displace your existing haulers, which you will if you decide that you want an exclusive or even possibly a non-exclusive franchise. There's quite a few haulers operating in this county. And not all of them are going to be equipped to be able to handle a given zone. If you want to displace them and just have one hauler in the unincorporated areas, two ways you can do it. One is there's a 15-month process. It's very defined on the procedure you have to go through. The second one is you can compensate them for lost business, and I believe that's 6 months of revenue that you can, if you wanted to do it faster than 15 months. Another drawback is it creates the appearance of a monopoly. No, it may not be. Could be bid, but it creates that appearance. Customers have no choice in the service provider. And it requires additional staff for solid waste. So that'd be an enforcement guy, so you don't have folks out there collecting garbage in areas they're not allowed to. That'd be the same guy that would be chasing down trucks that may be dumping recycling in with the garbage, which is an issue these days. In some areas, and of course you need some administrative staff as well to manage a franchise. So I took a look at Alamance County, called the director up there, and it's about 2/3 the size of Union County, both in geographic area and population. But they've experienced some growth. That's between Greensboro and Research Triangle area up there toward Burlington and what have you. And they have a franchise up there, and here's the way it worked. And initially, they had about 7 haulers in their county, and so they gave each one of them a zone. Okay. What happened was, though, is the smaller ones struggled to keep up with the growth that would come into their zones in a lot of areas. They also did not set the pricing. The county chose not to set the pricing. So you'd be in one zone, and that guy'd be paying so much a quarter for his trash. His neighbor in the next zone might be paying less or more. So that was created some issues for him. So they changed. They went to 2 large franchises, cut the county in half, put one of these large companies on the top half and one on the bottom half. The large companies are going to have the financial ability to bring other equipment in to service a large area like that. They'll bring just the minimum that they need, but they will bring it in. And they have the financial backgrounds to qualify for this franchises. So even with that, one of those 2 companies struggled greatly last year. It can happen, no matter how big or small. So the takeaway on franchising is it may result in better service just due to the volume of business that they realize, but a county would need to be able to thoroughly vet those applicants for a franchise, really check the references, Make sure you've got a company that's got a good track record of providing that level of service, not paying as much attention to how large or small they are. There's no parallel between size and service level. And customers in the unincorporated areas who are dissatisfied with the service, well, you can change your hauler. Sometimes that's not so easy, because you may run out, if you're riding out through the country, and you may see a whole bunch of people have the same hauler out there. And so if you call another hauler and ask him to come get your one can, he might not do it, because he's got to travel a long way. But if you're getting bad service, chances are your neighbors are too. So if you do a little talking with your neighbors and you call the hauler and you say, hey, I got 10 people that are ready to switch. Oh, he's coming out there then, because that's going to continue to grow as other residents passing by see those containers out there, and a smart businessman is going to take advantage of that. So you can change the haulers. Had a customer right outside of Waxhaw. He said he had bad service. Drayton Hall subdivision, pretty nice high-end subdivision out there. And so he was sent an email to the hauler. He copied me on it for some reason. I called him up. And he goes, yeah, what can we do? And I'm like, well, you can change haulers. And he goes, well, everybody's got this one hauler here. I said, well, talk to your HOA. You don't have a contract with them. It's not a written contract. Talk to your HOA. And I said, I'll be glad to supply you with the names of some other haulers. And that's what I did. So it took a little bit of work. He talked to the HOA, okay, and took a little bit of an effort, but you are able to switch, and that's the message here. If you have customers who are not happy with the service level that they have. So that's the general overview of what a franchise looks like. I know Ms. Lancaster said she was going to give you an update on Sun Valley site, but actually it's the gold mine site. Convenience sites that aren't located on schools are named after the roads that they're located on. Armfield Mill, White Store, those are all on those roads. So we took the liberty, and I hope I didn't need to ask for permission to name this one the gold mine site, because it's on Gold Mine Road. So the board approved that in May of 2018. A lot of things have happened since then. All the geotechnical work, the survey work, all those kind of things that have to occur. Securing an engineering firm as a consultant, completing the contracts to do that. Currently, we're in the permitting process. You need a lot of permits nowadays, get anything done. You got stormwater permits, you got erosion control permits, you need a driveway permit. Growth management has to look at it. So that's the process we're currently in. The final designs are complete. This will look different than any of the existing convenience sites. It's a scaled down, more efficient, much cleaner, and hopefully less expensive site to build than originally anticipated. That remains to be seen. We're currently starting to prepare the bid documents. And once the bids come in, we'll be able to really focus on a better exact date for construction. With this economy, we're hopeful that we get some good bids, but you know, we may have to go back out more than once just to get a bidder on these things, just the way the economy is right now. But we're looking target date spring 19. That's our best estimate right now for that site. If you look at that map, you'll notice that, and here is the new site. It's just 2 miles away, a little over 2 miles from this site, which this site is the Sun Valley site. Sun Valley, sir, they're expanding that school bond project. A lot of construction going on out there. We had a lease with them, but it is a school, so we're moving the site, and that's what led to all this. But if you look at these convenience sites, you'll notice they're located right in the middle of the county, all the way around. No matter where you live in the county, if you live in this corner, if you live in this corner, if you live in that corner, no matter where you live, you are not more than 17 minutes from a convenience site. Most of the time, you're a lot less than that, but that's the furthest you will travel to get to a convenience site. And that includes if you live in this part of the county up here, which is where the New Salem site was, and you can see what happened when the hurricane came down Richardson Creek and decimated the New Salem site. This picture was taken after the water had actually receded. If you look up on the bridge back there, you can see about two feet of debris. That water was well up over that bridge at one point in time.
This is a 40-yard roll-off container. It is made of steel. It is heavy. There were 3 of them there. 2 of them floated downstream. The fence is gone. You can see a little bit of it down here. The utilities were destroyed. The building that the site operator worked out of, we still haven't found. It's gone. We did recover the 2 other rollout containers a few hundred yards downstream. So it's located in a floodplain. If you've been there before, you know it's very dangerous. It's in a big curve. Getting in and out, it's a very dangerous site to enter and leave. It was our smallest convenience site. It did 6 tons a month average, which the next smallest site is White Store, and that does 21 tons a month. By comparison, our largest site does 65 tons a month. So it was very, very small volume, which is why it loses money. In our business, it's a weight-based business. You've got set operating costs, so the less tonnage you have, the higher per ton operating cost you have. This one cost us about $13,000 a year, and as I mentioned, access to other sites is less than 17 minutes. Hopefully I didn't take too much longer than 17 minutes. I'd be glad to answer any questions that you may have.
Commissioner.
I have a few questions.
Yes, sir.
Tell me about the yard waste and the tree waste. I can't make the math into us making money off of it.
Okay, well, we about break even, sir, when you consider the amount of time that Union County staff puts into it as well. We get yard waste delivered to us from 2 different sources. One is Joe resident, who brings it in his trailer, usually spring cleaning. Most of that yard waste, he pays a flat rate. He comes in there with a trailer load of it. He might pay $10 to get rid of it. But it's very light material. It's stuff he has picked up. The high volume of material that we get, in this case DOT this year, because of the hurricane cleanup, that's the big stuff. That's the same stuff a landscaper would take when he takes down a whole tree and brings it to you. We charge them by the ton. They go through the scale house and pay $35 a ton. So the real heavy stuff, they're paying $35 a ton. So while we may be losing a little money on Joe Citizen, who's paying a little small flat rate, we're making more on the commercial side of it, and it averages $22.50 a ton, at least so far this year. It's $22.50 that we're taking in.
But we just awarded a contract to grind that stuff up.
That's correct. We're starting in March. Yes,
Do you
sir.
realize what that contract was per ton?
$17.25.
600 tons for $61,000.
No, sir. The contract is $17.25 per ton. Okay, we have brought in the first 5 months of this year, this budget year, 3,000 tons. So we took in $22.50 a ton. We're paying $17.25 to process. That's where we're at right now.
Is that the contract with Pravat Industries?
That is, yeah. Currently, it's $17.50. When we negotiated with him on the last RFP, he reduced it another quarter at $17.25 for the new contract.
Well, the contract I saw was 600 tons for $61,000.
The contract numbers, the RFP, which I'd be glad to provide you with a copy of, is based upon per ton processing.
I believe, Commissioner Rape, that was additional funding that you needed to...
Oh, you're referring to that, right,
Yes.
because of the volume of material that we got. Right, so we try and project on an annual basis how much tonnage is going to come in based upon the prior year. We don't project hurricanes. So when you get that much more tonnage, we are currently at capacity of our permitted ability and what we need to store. So that was the reason for that. We need to free up one extra grind because of the tonnage of material.
But we paid $100 a ton.
We will, no sir, we will pay $17.50 a ton for him to grind the additional material that we currently have on site.
Well, tell me if I'm wrong. 600 tons is, and then we did another 200-ton contract.
That 600 tons, sir, was just from the hurricane, okay, that came in, but there was lots of other yard waste that comes in there also.
The 600 tons, that was a $61,000 contract.
Commissioner Rape, I don't think you can, it's not an apples to apples mathematical comparison. I think, John, correct me if I'm wrong, that we were growing that contract to accommodate the additional waste that we've seen, but it's still the 1725 per ton. He just needed, for his budget, needed additional capacity, which equaled $60,000, but it's not $60,000 versus the 600 tons.
No, it was the extra money that we're asking for. It was $20,000 to go with the original encumbrance that we had. So that's what we're talking about, and that is to process all the waste that's currently out there. The $61,000, I believe, sir, and this is off the top of my head you're referring to, is our annual estimate on what that contract will be. I thought it was more like $68,000 or $69,000 for a one-year period, normal year, no hurricane. Does that help clarify it at all?
Well, no.
Okay.
The contract was 600 tons, $61,000. We voted on it at the last meeting. That's $100 a ton we're paying to grind that stuff.
It's item number 11 that you approved tonight, actually, as part of
Right.
consent. So if you read it in the background, it's due to over 600 tons of wood debris from the hurricanes. But what this is actually doing is amending the current contract so that he has, again, that $20,000 of additional spending capacity in the contract that was not anticipated when he originally let that contract, because he didn't anticipate 2 hurricanes. So you can't divide the 600 and the 20.
So 600 is just a number that we got from the hurricane.
Right.
But there's other yard debris out there as well.
The number is still $17.25.
No matter how much tonnage is there, it's $17.25. Yes.
Does he weigh it? Does he have an ability to weigh it?
We weigh it. We weigh every piece that comes in there. So what happens is, when a resident comes in with a trailer load, he's directed to dump it in a certain area. We'll run over there with a roll-off container, load that material in a container, run it across the scales and record that, go dump it in the processing area. So we weigh everything that comes in. That's how we know, and that's also how we pay our contractor.
I understand that, and I won't waste any more time, but I'm still seeing a contract that says 600 tons and $61,000, so I'll follow up on that.
Please do, sir. It's more like the annual amount that we think we're going to generate, and it's about a $70,000 expenditure per year for the entire year.
Okay. Commissioner Rushing?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have 2 convenience sites located on Union County Public Schools property, correct?
We have
Piedmont.
3, not counting, if you count Sun Valley.
Okay, yeah, Sun Valley will be moving, so we'll
Yes, sir.
have 2
That is
left
correct.
remaining, Parkwood and
Yes, sir.
Piedmont.
That's correct.
I think it's very important, and I know that the school board, I've asked staff to look at this and maybe speak to the school staff. We need to try to find a way of separating that from educational property. And there's an important reason why. When you have a deer hunter or rabbit hunter who goes to our convenience sites to throw their trash away after hunting, if they're not concealed carry permit holders, then they're creating a felony just by being there with their firearm. If a concealed carry permit holder gets out of their vehicle on those sites, then they're a felon if they're not careful doing something that's completely unknowing to them.
Right, locking it up in the glove compartment.
Right, leaving it in a locked vehicle and
Yes, sir, I'm
that stuff.
familiar with the regulations.
So even an open carrier who would open carry on educational property
Right.
wouldn't be committing a felony.
That's correct.
So unknowingly, we're having people commit felonies, and we need to make sure that we can separate those two. And I know some school board members are here tonight. Maybe we could approach them in the coming months and try to settle something out with that.
Sure, be glad to cooperate however you'd like.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I would, I'd like to ask, I've used your facility, I'm very pleased with it, but what I noticed is we don't have a tracking method of the collections as it comes in. You made several references today where it might be $10 or it might be $15. I'd like for you to
Expand
come
on that.
tell us how we can track that,
Okay.
and so we know exactly what kind of money is brought in, and we can use it in our budget process.
Thank you, Chairman Helms. Yeah, though you bring up a very good point. The reason that the prices can vary, it depends on the flat rate, on what type of equipment is hauled in with. Single axle trailers, one price, double axles another, pickup trucks another. So that's why sometimes that rate can vary.
the biggest issue, one of the biggest issues that we had and tried to address last year and didn't get it anywhere, so I'd love to try it again this year, is our whole cash handling policy. There's several issues, obviously, with handling cash, not the least of which is the security issues involved there, but also the amount of administrative time to process that cash. I'll give you an idea. Just in travel reimbursements, people bringing their money to the drop box in the basement, we spend $7,000 a year in mileage reimbursements, just for that, okay? Then you have 2 administrative people, because of the cash handling policy, that have to be together when all that money is counted. Then you have to transport it to a bank. So it ties up a lot of administrative time. Yes, it is not. We can look at it, we look at price per ton at our convenience sites. So we look at that as a red flag if one convenience site is averaging a lot lower price per ton than another convenience site. But it's not an exact science, you're absolutely right. I'd love to do away with the cash handling at all of our remote convenience sites. I think that the main site, because they have such a variety of materials, it might be difficult. I can give you a brief outline on how I'd like to see that work. First of all, many of those counties that I discussed with you, they charge a solid waste fee. That's how they do that. Everyone gets a sticker. They don't pay anything at the convenience site because they're paying in a solid waste fee, okay? However, Gaston County, and you know, I try and come up with some pretty good alternatives, but sometimes it's best not to reinvent the wheel. They've got a really kind of a neat way to do it. They have what they call a garb card, and the local businesses around the convenience sites sell the garb card. They buy the garb card from the county, so the transaction takes place that way. It also brings customers in to their local businesses, which they'll buy a drink or what have you while they're there. So I would love to, and that's quite a process to put this all together, but I would love to embark on that so that that way we get rid of a large percentage of the cash handling that we currently have. That would give us a lot better data to work with. Does that help answer your question?
Well, and what I observed, it was at the main landfill. And I went in one day and $10, like you say, for a single axle trailer. Goes right in the pocket. No recording, no anything.
Right.
Now, the next time, the young lady put a ticky mark on something. So we're not consistent.
Right.
We need to be consistent and know what our revenue coming in is. And, you know, it may be far more than the cost of your administrative services you described.
Right.
So I'd like to have some more information on that
I'd be
and what
glad to.
capabilities. I've used other sites where it's computerized and you know, on a scale, you got a receipt each time.
Well,
So-
yes, sir. At one point in time, everyone went across the scales.
Yes, I remember that.
But that was a dangerous situation because of all the heavy trucks that are dumping in and out of the transfer station.
Okay.
That's the reason they stopped doing that. So yes, we need to find a better solution. We're in agreement, and I promise you I'll get right on that.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your time.
Yes, sir.
Any further questions? Thank you, John.
Thank you very
Appreciate
much.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes,
can I
sir.
ask a question? Since we skipped around in the agenda some,
it. Since that screwed up and went the wrong one, yeah.
do we need to do any kind of amending of the agenda, Jeff, or anything to suspend our rules, or, so we're fine? And I would ask that we go with item 26 next in that line. And a lot of these folks are not here to see the sausage made, so we need to move along a little bit, get a little bit further.
Okay, any objection to going to 26? Is there a problem with that, Jeff? Okay, all right. Number 26, the 9th Congressional District Resolution. The background is North Carolina State Board of Elections has not certified the results of the 9th District Congressional election. The lack of certification is causing uncertainty for residents regarding their representation in the United States House of Representatives in the 116th Congress beginning in January 3rd, 2019. I think we need I've had several conversations today with our media, and the point I tried to make is our resolution's objective is not one party over the other. It's not whether one candidate should be certified or the other. It's a fact that the Board of Elections, State Board of Elections, needs to be transparent and show the facts that would impact the election and how it would change the results of the elections, such as the absentee ballots and the leaking of early votings. I'm not asking the current election to be certified without a valid investigation. However, this is to continue investigation and validate the accusations. I've heard about smoking guns. We're going to hear a smoking gun. For 3 weeks I've heard about it. Not seen a smoking gun. So the Board of Elections needs to clarify where the problems are, and if the results takes away enough votes from Mr. Harris, then he doesn't win. If his votes maintained, then we need to be consistent and transparent for what we're saying. Any comment, Mr. Rushing?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Tell a quick example of how important a congressman is. When my wife was 17, she wanted to go into the military. So she needed help from the congressman to get in. And so my mother-in-law called and talked to the congressional switchboard and asked for Hugh Hefner. And at the time they said, well, ma'am, we don't have Hugh Hefner's number. And my sister-in-law said, no, Mama, Bill Hefner. And Bill Hefner was their congressman at the time. And Bill Hefner was down in Scotland County. That's where he was over that time. And she said, Congressman Hefner, I need your help. My daughter needs help getting into the military. And sure enough, he helped her. And that's called constituent services. And in Union County, we're not going to have those constituent services for an unknown period of time until something comes of this. When I was at a meeting this morning concerning the Norwood Water Project, I went into the meeting and we started talking about things that we needed. And our delegation from Norwood, they said, well, we need to contact our congressman in the coming months because we're going to need some support on this from them. And they said, we'll call Congressman Hudson right away, try to get him filled in on it. And then they looked at me. And they said, oh, you're in the 9th District. So when we look at this, and I understand, you know, Stephen Davis, I appreciate your comments, and I understand what you're saying when you come from there. But another county, you know, you're saying another county is trying to tell another what to do. Bladen County certified their results, all of their results. Bladen County's okay with what they've seen in Bladen County. It was a Democrat lawyer from another county who stepped in unasked, no protest, no concerns from anybody in Bladen County or any other 9th District county, except for this one lawyer that's on the Board of Elections. The only organization that has admitted guilt in this whole thing, any kind of election guilt from these organizations, has been the State Board of Elections. The State Board of Elections has admitted that they accepted a level of voter fraud as long as the outcome was to their approval. The specific statement was they turned a blind eye to this issue they had in Bladen County. Now, that's not the taxpayers of Union County's fault that Bladen County turned a blind eye to it, or the State Board of Elections turned a blind eye to it and let it happen for years and years and years, election after election. The State Board of Elections had 2 years and 2 elections to certify this, to get the information they needed to go look and investigate what was going on in Bladen County. At no point in time, they're the referees. They're supposed to step in. Bladen County and the state are supposed to step in and say, wait a minute, we have information that there's voter fraud and we need to step in and investigate it or stop it during the election. Rather than that, they pulled it as a knife on us a month after the election. The election's over with, and they said, well, we don't like the outcome. So one member of the State Board of Elections had the opportunity to go behind closed doors in 2 meetings and plead his case with no rebuttal from anybody. No media in the room, nobody. And Mr. Davis, I worked with the guy that worked for the local party, with the guy at the local party at the polls. And that gentleman broke violated election rules 20 times in my presence, and I watched him. And I didn't come out and say, well, I didn't like the results of some election, so I'm going to complain about that. He didn't mean to. He knew what he was doing. He just didn't understand that he couldn't cross the line and follow people to the door, handing them information on Democrat candidates. But I didn't take that as a violation or a felony or anything like that. It wasn't anything, but he was just overzealous and trying to get his candidates elected. And we see that in every election. When somebody kicks over a sign, when somebody pulls up a sign, it's illegal. You can't do it. But those things are investigated, and you can go, and our Board of Elections ladies here, you can go see her. She'll help you right away. Dennis, won't she? You've got a complaint, she'll help you, right?
Absolutely.
So at no time that this lawyer on the Board of Elections, State Board of Elections, have a problem until he saw the results of the election. And now he wants a do-over. And so we're dragging this out. And all our veterans, all our kids that are wanting to go into the military and need help, the people that need constituent services, the counties that need help on the congressional level. There's 8 counties in the 9th District that are not going to be able to go do that because we don't have representation, because they're dragging this out. If there's evidence, produce it. If there's anything there, produce it. You've had plenty of time to certify this election. I got mine right here. That's what it is. I'm certified. This is ridiculous, and it's beyond time that somebody said it was ridiculous. When your congressman is made fun of on the nightly news, it's time to stop it.
I'd like to add to what Mr. Rushing says. I will be voting for this resolution tonight, and I'll tell you why. I have always been an advocate for the weaker person. I have seen too many times people be tried to take somebody down with false accusations and no evidence. And I will not allow it as long as I have a vote in it. Now, we can't have any impact on the certification, but we can make a statement. I worked beside Mark Harris in the primary and in the election, as a lot of other people did. He would run after people. I saw him go to lunch, and he would stop his car thinking somebody was going to slip in. Without getting a Mark Harris thing, he would shake their hand. This man is a good man, and what I see is just the media trying to destroy him. If you have the smoking gun, lay it out and let's get it done. But quit talking about it. Either present the evidence or certify him.
With that, I'll just make the motion that we accept the resolution.
Yes. Okay, there's a motion. Any further discussion? Chair Simpson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We know this election was about Mr. Harris and Mr. McCready. We've had numerous comments about Mr. Harris tonight and their support of him, and I will tell you right quick that as a conservative Republican, I supported Mark Harris and campaigned for him diligently throughout the campaign. Glad to see that he won the election. Today, the 9th District Republican Party came out with a resolution demanding that the State Board of Election move forward and end this ordeal. And I highly commend them for that. This is a complex issue, and as you can see, it's becoming a partisan issue. It is a partisan issue. I campaigned hard as a conservative Republican. I've always stood as a conservative Republican. But I stood right there and put my hand on the Bible and swore an oath to support, to defend the Constitution, support every citizen in Union County. And so, though I support Mark Harris, can't support the resolution.
Additionally, I'd like to say I was quoted last night bringing the issue of the $100,000 to the cost of a reelection. And I think that's probably a conservative guess. It's not, I don't mind spending the money if it's warranted. If it's not warranted, it may be taking it out of the school's capability for us to fund schools or other projects. It just needs to be validated, like Commissioner Rape said. The accusation's been made and no one has come forth to quantify their valid accusations, and whichever way it falls, I'm okay with it. I'm a conservative Republican too. But if Mr. McCready actually won, great, he needs to serve. But we need a representative in Washington, and I think that's very important for us today. And with that, I'll call for a vote on the resolution. All for?
Aye.
All against?
No.
Okay. 3, 4, 1 against. Thank you for your time to discuss. And now I'll try to get back on our schedule. So it's US 74 Marshall Corridor Study. The town of Marshall and Union County has completed a study of the existing 74 and proposed Marshall bypass. This study involved the investigation of existing conditions and options for addressing current and future traffic conditions along US 74. The report and recommendations have been accepted by the town of Marshall. The Union County Planning Board accepted the report and unanimously recommended adoption at its November 13th meeting. The conclusions of the study are as follows. The Marshall bypass is supported by local residents. They see it shifting truck traffic and related noise and pollution out of the town center. They are not concerned about the potential for economic activity to leave the center to an interchange along the bypass. The bypass should therefore stay in a comprehensive transportation plan. The bypass is not needed at this time, but likely will be in the next 20 to 25 years. In the meantime, operational improvements to traffic signals and driveway access near the intersections along the existing corridor can offer significant benefits at a low cost. Completing the sidewalk network, improving crosswalks, and planting trees along the corridor can improve the appearance and the safety of the corridor of all users. Born, would you like to come back and give us some further update on that process, please, sir? Apologize for making you wait.
I was a little unnerved because this had been shifted from a couple previous county commission meetings, so I thank you for letting me present and finish this process. The presentation that I have really would duplicate everything that you said before. This study was completed. It was initially proposed just to look at the existing US 74 with the expressway opening. The town of Marshville, their board had concerns about the expressway, or I'm sorry, a bypass, taking traffic and economic activity away from their core. So we revised this study to not only look at how to improve US 74 to deal with the expressway potential for increased traffic, but also assessing, does the town and its residents and property owners support the bypass, and then when is the bypass needed? And so, yes, the bypass is supported. Yes, they do see it as a benefit not only for truck traffic, but pollution and giving back their main street. But there's not enough traffic on the existing US 74 to get it funded in the short term. So we're recommending some traffic signal optimization, improvements to the existing US 74, as well as some short median installations that will improve safety and the operations for quite a while. But if the volumes increase and safety decreases, it's a supported project, and the county and the town would support its inclusion in a funding plan by the NCDOT. So I'm happy to answer any questions you may have about this project, but otherwise you're being asked to approve the study and its recommendations.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
motion to approve the study and the recommendation.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bjorn. Appreciate it and apologize for the delay.
Not a problem.
We have had our chair and vice chair of the school board sitting patiently, and I apologize for delaying it further for you. We have a recommendation for the BOCC and UCPS BOE budget interaction. We are really blessed to have what I consider a very special working relationship with the current board, and we're looking to continue that. And based on feedback during the November 29th budget retreat we had, I'm providing a recommendation for engaging with UCPS Board of Education during the FY20 budget process. I've also shared this information and discussed with the superintendent. And Ms. Manager, maybe you should have been doing this, but
That's okay.
I've already got started. I'm on a roll. So Dr. Houlihan has been shared the information and an agreement with this recommended approach. Late January, a joint meeting for overview by each organization of its internal budget process. This would include key dates, requirements from other state and federal, etc. Establish guidelines for the FY20 process. Utilize a facilitator, Service Solutions, to facilitate the January meeting. Possible topics to include bond-funded project update, Human Services Collaborative update, and others. I can tell you that having Mr. Gagnon facilitate, I think you'll be very impressed with his approach and dedication to coming to a fair outcome. March, a joint meeting, and May, a joint meeting. Do I have a recommendation for engaging the UCPS Board of Education during the FY20 budget process?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And Ms. Merrill, Ms. Heintel, I appreciate y'all's being here tonight. We look forward to working with y'all and a very positive outcome for Union County and the school board. It'll take me a minute to figure out what I've left out.
Got the appointments?
Yeah, I know that's where I'm heading. I'm making fun of myself, I'm sorry.
That's my job.
That's your job, that's right, Stowe. So, appointments of commissioners to boards and committees. We've provided a update. The changes are basically addition of Mr. Rape. He assumed a responsibility that I had because of his education background with the Jobs Ready program. I think he'll be a strong factor there, and he's accepting from Mr. Chair, for Jerry Simpson, the responsibility for the Fire Commission. Can I have a motion to appoint commission representatives to the various boards as outlined in the attachment?
So moved.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. County manager's comments.
Yes, thank you, Chairman Helms. First, I would like to congratulate Mark Watson on his appointment as county manager. I look forward to the transition and continuing to work with Mark and the organization as we move forward. I'd also like to congratulate our public works staff that were recognized earlier. Sometimes I don't think we do enough to thank the folks who work here every day and do the hard work on the front lines. And also extend again our welcome to Andrew Balcom and thank him for being here tonight. And I would echo the sentiment that the challenge that I think he gave to each of you to contact him and to spend some time with him and to do that with any of the rest of our division directors that we have on staff. And with that, I would wish everyone a happy holiday and a Merry Christmas as our last meeting of the year.
Commissioner Rushing.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In my prayer tonight, I talked about the sheriff and his family. And, I just can't state enough what Ann Kathy's meant to this community. I think that was obvious by the outpouring of support that she had. And the sheriff's just been an incredible person to work with. And I've known him for a long time. And I really feel great sympathy for the family. And I just would hope that all of you would keep him in your prayers.
Commissioner Simpson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You had to ditto what Stoney said. It's always difficult when you lose one so close, and Sheriff Kathy is so well known and well admired throughout the county. It's a great loss to his family, and our prayers and our thoughts are with him, particularly at this holiday season. Let me offer congratulations to Mr. Watson being selected as our new manager. I look forward to working with you on the issues concerning Union County, continue to move this county forward. If there's one thing you can say about Mark Watson, he's got a passion for Union County. If you don't believe it, catch him with 5 minutes extra time, he'll give you a tour. So he can give you a tour. Andrew Balcom, as one old county extension director to a new one, congratulations and welcome to Union County. And one final thing, this term begins my 3rd term as an elected representative of the Board of County Commissioners. So that makes me having served 8 previous years. And due to circumstances, Ms. Cotto was not able to be with us the last month, but I would like to certainly say how much a pleasure it was for me to work with her, and her leadership ability. I think the people that she hired to work with her and work here with Union County certainly has propelled us forward. So congratulations to her on her retirement. Wish her all the best. Have a great holiday.
Commissioner Reagan.
Well, Mr. Balcom, Andrew, I heard there's a few more Balcoms in this county, so you'll probably run into them. I think there's 3 commissioners up here that went through 4-H when we were young, and I hope you have a passion for that, because I would love to tell a young 10 to 12 to 16-year-old 4-H leader, you know, come up to a county commissioners meeting, and 3 of the 5 up there were 4-H'ers one time. And that was our social media. That was everything. I lived on a dirt road. And I would also like to thank all the county employees that I have met over the last 2 weeks. I know I learn something every day. I had never heard, although everybody that I told it about said, man, I've heard that my whole life, but I truly feel like I've been drinking from a fire hydrant. And so I've enjoyed it. I had a chance to talk with Eddie Cathy tonight. I called just to see how he's doing. And of course, he came to my son's funeral in '89, and I went to his wife's funeral in '18. And he was home with one of his children tonight, but he was in good spirits. And in that old Eddie Cathy way, he said, everything's going to be all right. And he says that a lot, but it does work out. I hope and wish everybody a good Christmas, and I'm looking forward to a dynamic year. I think the directors, I know Richard probably drawing up, but we've got a dynamic interim county manager, we got a dynamic CFO, we got a dynamic growth management guy, and then all the other department heads, but I've met them. And so, you know, I'm really proud of where we're at and where they're going to take us. Thank you.
Mark, I'll say it again, congratulations. We're looking forward to working with you, and we're looking forward to the advancements you make for employees and the county. So, thank you very much. And also, I want to congratulate again the Public Works staff for their accomplishment. I think it's marvelous. One of the things that's easiest to do in this county is to find employees that need to be congratulated for the work they do. We've got exceptional employees, very talented, and they're what's making this county strong, and I appreciate that. Andrew, welcome. You know there's an expert sitting up here. It's a resource for you. Additionally, I'll also say Ann Cathy was a personal friend I had the opportunity over the years to get to know her, and she'll be sorely missed, and we wish Eddie all the strength and understanding that he needs to move on. So with that, I wish everyone a Merry Christmas, and I look forward to seeing you. I think it's the 7th of January. Ms. Lancaster, like Dennis said, has done a phenomenal job, and she even didn't throw something at me when I got out of step, and I got excited. So I've been looking forward to this night to be able to announce our new manager. It's exciting times, and I think we're going to move forward in a very positive fashion. Thank you, Melissa and Kathy, for being here. I appreciate it, and I wish you all a Merry Christmas and a good night, okay? Motion to adjourn. I mean, they won't let me miss that one. That was embarrassing.